Welcome to Nintendo Switchcraft. We are here with a guest. We've got Stealth from Twitter. And Stealth, tell me a little bit about where people can find your stuff and what exactly your stuff is.
People can find me on Twitter at stealth with three underscores. You can also find me guesting on various Nintendo podcasts and videos across the interweb. And my content typically focuses on Nintendo and JRPGs.
Awesome. So before we get into it, what's your? I'm guessing based on your Twitter avatar that your favorite JRPG is Xenoblade Chronicles 2, or is that just your recent favorite?
I would say that's more of my recent favorite. My overall favorite JRPG of all time. It depends on when you ask me. It depends on the time of day.
Oh boy,
Dragon Quest
Dragon Quest.
Five. Yeah, I love Dragon Quest Five. Any of the Final Fantasies. I kind of like to play them all.
Very cool. So it was funny. Chat was talking about they're like, "Oh, stealth is on. That means somebody here is going to be as excited for Dragon Quest 11 as I am." Are you pretty stoked for
Yes,
that game?
I am really stoked, and I just tweeted about it that if we don't see any tonight during like the big Tokyo Game Show Dragon Quest event, I will melt down.
Did you pick it up for? Is that out for PS4 yet?
It is out for PS4. I picked it up. It's still in shrink wrap. I I, I just I want to play it on a handheld. I just like playing Dragon Quest games on Nintendo systems.
Hmm.
I bought it on PS4 to support the series. I'm gonna buy it twice to support the series. But what I really want to play it on a Switch.
How many games do you think that you have double dipped on? Because I know for me, I've double dipped on a lot since the Switch came out, and it isn't something I expected when I first saw the Switch. I didn't expect that I would pick up games that I had already purchased before. But how often do you think that's happened to you?
I don't double dip too often, only for series that are special to me.
Hmm.
Dragon Quest being one of them. I'll double dip on Final Fantasy games, of course. And I'll double dip on the Wii U Deluxe ports. But other than that, I don't double dip too much.
Very interesting. All right, so let's jump right into today's news. I posted a tweet earlier today. It was a poll, and it said, "Now that it's here, how many of you have picked up Nintendo Switch Online?" And then I said, of course, that we would discuss it, and we had 10% said hard no, they weren't going to pick it up at all, and everybody else picked it up. Let me mute that. Everybody else picked it up, and 8% picked up just 1 month of it with everybody else either don't going with a year or a family plan. Did you end up picking up Nintendo Switch Online, or are you mostly a single player kind of guy?
I'm mostly a single player kind of guy, but I do have a lot of like the big online games. So $20 is just a no brainer. I bought it. I bought the year without thinking about it.
Hmm.
That was like a no brainer.
Did you try out the voice chat using the phone app at all?
I did not try that out yet.
I tried it out. It was okay. It still would be better if it was on the Switch itself, but it worked pretty well. Um, my the Bravd in chat is upset because I said that you would be almost as excited as he was. So I'm correcting it now, Mikey. Be playing. Um, did you play any of the NES stuff? Do you think the library is good enough?
Is
Oh,
it?
you
Yes. It is. I'm not expecting, the entire NES library in a month. For where it is right now, it's fine. It's gonna grow, hopefully. I did try out a few games, not for too long, and they were fun. But really, the main point of online for me is to still be able to play, the Switch online game, the Switch games online, and $20 is a small price to pay to still be able to do that.
And which ones? Which are what are the online Switch games that you've been playing the most?
Monster Hunter is the biggest one right now. I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. In the past, I've been getting back into Splatoon. Um, I've played a little bit of Arms, and yeah, but mostly Monster Hunter, I would say at the moment.
So I've been
Oh,
playing.
and of course
Go
Mario
ahead.
Kart, and
Mario
of course
Kart.
Mario
Yeah,
Kart. Yeah.
you can't not play Mario Kart.
Now,
It's never very far down on my list. You know. So my guess. Okay. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Let me ask you a question about that game. First off, what weapon are you using?
I always use the great sword in that game.
So is this is clearly not your first Monster Hunter game?
This is my first one. I played them on the PSP. I played them on the 3DS. I played it on the Wii U. I played it on the Wii. So no, I'm an old hat.
What did you think of Monster Hunter World?
Um, I liked it. I found the content to be a little lacking. In terms of how many large monsters there were,
Hmm.
and I kind of didn't like a lot of the what most people considered like positive quality of life changes. I kind of liked the more grindy RPG stuff. I don't know. It was good. Don't get me wrong, it's a good game, but I prefer Generations Ultimate.
Fair enough. And just curious, what hunter rank are you?
What hunter rank am I? I think I'm hunter rank 6 or 7. I haven't played for a few weeks, but when I think I was around there.
Cool. So next story that I want to talk about is Nintendo Cloud Saves. I called up Nintendo today to ask about the cloud save stuff from last episode. And first off, I want to say that calling Nintendo is a lot like calling Apple. Their phone customer service is really top notch. That's not a huge surprise because when I called about my left Joy-Con, um, like it was the same experience as it was this time. But today I called in regards to, well, I asked two questions. The first question that I asked was my son playing a game on his Switch from my account because they added in the ability to do game sharing. Have you tried this yet?
I have not tried that.
Okay, so the way it works is you can log in to your account from somebody else's Nintendo Switch, and then you can download games that you have purchased on your account to the secondary Switch, and as long as you're playing, as long as that person is playing on your account, then they can play all of your games. The only caveats here are that you have to be able to connect to the internet in order to verify that you are. How do I want to say it? You have to be able to verify that the other person isn't playing it, so that you can't both be playing at the same time, which I think is totally fair.
Yeah, I think they're concerned about cheating,
I,
like on like item duplication and stuff like that. In terms of why they don't want like multiple people on like the same save, I guess.
oh, well, yeah, I get that, but I think it was more along the lines of, they don't want me to buy one copy and then have multiple people playing that one copy because that's not fair to them. It's
Oh
not
yeah,
fair to the
that's true.
developer, and that's totally understandable. But the way it works is, like on my primary system, I can play any game that I've purchased on my account from on any account that's on my primary system. On the secondary account system, you can only play if you are playing as the account that owns that game. And this ran into a problem for me because, and this is why I called up to ask the question was, so if my son is playing a game that I purchased on my account on his Switch, he has to play as me, and therefore his as he plays, his save data is going to upload to the cloud and overwrite mine.
Interesting. That's I never thought about that.
Yeah, so it took me a couple of try because it's kind of a weird way that you have to phrase it to get somebody to understand what the problem is. So I was asking if that was the case, and the woman I was talking to paused for a while, and then she goes, that's a good question. And then she passed on the question, and we talked about video games for a little bit. And after a while, they said yes, it is going to overwrite your save. So uh, I would recommend, and this is like a PSA to anybody out there, you've got to be very careful who you do game sharing with because they could erase your game by accident. And so I didn't tell my son about this because I don't want, like, I have a bunch of games because I get games for free. I got like 130 games on my Nintendo Switch, and I didn't want, like, there's a lot of games that I got, and he's like, I want to play those, and he can't because they're not on his Switch. So, if he plays on my account, he might erase them. And Bravd is saying got to turn off his cloud saves or something. And I don't think that's not a good solution in my opinion, because he's the 10-year-old. He's the one who's more likely to drop and break the system than me. At least that's how I feel. I mean, he's dropped his before. I've not dropped mine yet, so I don't think that that's a good thing. And then the second question that I said, or that I asked, is, oh yeah, she also explained that you cannot play the same game. It's not just that you can't play the same game at the same time. The other thing was that if, like, so let's say that I did this with you, Stealth, and you're playing Mario Kart on your account, and I'm logged in, and I log into any of your games on my Switch on your account, it would block you out, even if it's not the same game. What do you think about that?
Um, yeah, that seems like it's gonna cause issues for certain families. I can see that. Like, if you don't know, I can see like people losing saves when they don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna run into that problem myself, but like I can see how, yeah, that would definitely be an annoying issue.
Yeah. And then there was a bit of drama recently about the fact that they delete your cloud saves after you stop paying, which I think is fine. But people were like, "Well, hold on, you got to save it for a little while." And that was the second question I asked. I asked, after my subscription is up next year, is there a grace period before my save data will be deleted? She said, we're unable to guarantee that your save data would be saved after an extended period of time once your membership is canceled. So I said, can you define extended period of time? And she says, no, we cannot define that at this time. So it looks like they do save it for a little while, which is fine. Do you know how long PlayStation saves it for? I thought it was 6 months, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's 6 months, but like you also people have to remember that like they have a big infrastructure for that. They do cloud saves for, you know, more than just games. I believe they also like have a service like, for backing up like computer stuff too. So I think like that's where it initially started. But yeah, I think they do it for 6 months. I think like Xbox does it indefinitely, like they don't lose it. Um, but I don't think Nintendo has like as big an infrastructure as they do. So
I feel like it's
yeah,
more of a problem with Nintendo because they don't offer any other way to back up your stuff.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
I can see that.
Well, we got the bad news out of the way. Let's talk about some good news. Are you a Smash Brothers guy? Do you like
I am a
Smash?
Smash. Yeah, I am a Smash Brothers guy.
Who's your main?
See, I play casually, so I really don't have like a single main. I play with a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
I play with Bowser, Little Mac, Shulk, Cloud. I'm definitely gonna start playing Inkling and probably K. Rool. Yeah, I honestly I like to play with everybody.
Yeah, I'm also a filthy casual. Anytime I've ever played online, I just get my tail handed to me big time. Um, but I tend to play Duck Hunt Dog and Pac Man. Those are my two favorites.
Duck Hunt Dog is actually one of the more challenging characters to use well.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just
Yeah,
like I like the I just like the character because
yeah.
it's
I
I just
actually
find
use
it
Pac-Man
hilarious.
too. I like his move set.
Right, especially the one where he can put like the pellets out in front of him and then you can kind of steer where he's going. I find that to
Yeah,
be
that's cool.
incredibly useful and almost a little overpowered.
Yeah, and I also like dropping the fire hydrant. That's also fun and annoying.
It is. So did you see that we may be getting a, well, okay, this is a, I'm using air quotes here because you can't see me, leaked screenshot. We've been fooled before with the whole Rayman thing back with Smash 4, but there was a leaked screenshot of a new Smash Brothers Ultimate character. Did you see that?
I did see that. I don't particularly think that screenshot is real.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the character is, and
Yeah.
I think some people who know he's coming, like opportunistically made a fake leak that they knew would gain traction because it seems like every fake leak gains tons of traction.
Oh, of course it does. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm assuming that the screenshot is fake because Nintendo has been so good at keeping this stuff
Yeah,
kind of
like
tamped
why?
down.
Yeah, why now?
Right. Like when Smash 4 was happening, we didn't see the Ryu. We didn't see the Cloud coming. Like those
Yeah,
were
and
insane announcements. I don't think they're going to uh start leaking stuff with Ken. And I think that Ken is also like the safest of bets as far as because we have the Echo characters. I mean, it'd be ridiculous if they didn't bring him.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, like Ridley didn't leak, K. Rool didn't leak, Simon, like at least his visuals didn't leak. No one leaked. So why all of a sudden Ken? And it doesn't even look that good. So I don't think that's real.
All right. I think that we agree on that.
Yeah,
Do you play Fortnite at all?
I don't.
You don't. Have you played Fortnite?
I have not actually, but I have seen YouTube videos of it. So
All right. So I have what I think is an unpopular opinion, and I don't know if people. Well, okay. So when Fortnite was first announced for the Nintendo Switch, I think it was at E3, and they said, and by the way, it has built-in voice on the console, and people kind of lost their minds because we all assumed that the only way you were going to get to use voice chat was using the Nintendo Switch online app, and you don't have to use the online app with Fortnite. But after using the voice chat app, I'm actually kind of wish that you could with Fortnite because I almost never play handheld for well, okay, I never play handheld Fortnite, and I don't have a way to use voice on there without just using some third party alternative. And I think it would be nice if I could.
game like, yeah, and I would see why for a game like that you would want easy voice chat.
Yeah, communication is key for that. And I was sitting here like because my son came upstairs and he was like, "Are you going to play some Fortnite, Dad?" Because I haven't really played in about 3 weeks. And I said, "I don't know, I don't really feel like it." And I sat down and played a match, and I was thinking, "Whoa, I I can't hear anything." There we go. Um, that was weird. Uh, I was thinking, boy, it'd be nice if I could talk to these people, but because I'm not playing handheld, I don't have a wire going to my Switch. It'd be nice if I could just use my phone, or if we had a Pro controller that had a audio jack. Do you think we're ever going to get that? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Ah, that sucks. Like this is something that I've wanted for ages. Is well, ages since the Switch came out. Is the an audio jack in the Pro controller so that you could have headphones on when you are sitting at the TV, even if you're not using it for chat, just being able to have the headphones on so you're not bugging other people. I think that would
Yeah,
be nice.
Yeah, if the Pro controller does get like a remodel, it's probably not going to be for another few years, I would imagine.
What would you change about the Pro controller?
I probably would add a headphone jack. Not too much. People complain about the D-pad, but honestly, like I haven't had any problems with it. Honestly, I think it's probably Nintendo's best ever controller, without question.
Hmm.
The headphone jack is probably a big one. That's really all I would change. I would like more colors. I'd like more like custom Pro controllers, if
Right.
anything.
How do you feel about just having the handles be the colors?
Just having the handles be the colors.
Because that's what they keep doing. They keep showing like it's still a black Pro controller with just the tails or whatever that they are called.
Well, I think one of them is different.
Yeah, the Smash one.
Yeah, the Smash one's like an off-white, if I remember correctly. But yeah, the others are kind of the black with different handles. And I think maybe the Xenoblade controller, Xenoblade 2 Pro. I'm just looking that up quickly.
That's fine.
Um,
I
oh
think
yeah,
that one's
okay.
just
So
black.
yeah, it is black, but it does have like a light green and like with the black.
Hmm.
So it's not just like totally the old controller.
I heard that that one has an improved D-pad.
Yeah, that's what they say, and I'm sure it's true. I still use the original Pro controllers, and honestly, I haven't noticed anything.
Do you play many D-pad centric games? Because I really don't, and I'm kind of with you on it. Like the D-pad seems good enough for the occasional time when I reach down and press it, but I understand how if people are trying to play, like we'll say Street Fighter 2, that they might run into issues with it.
Yeah, and I have played some fighting games with it, and honestly, it's serviceable. It's fine for me anyway.
Fair enough. If I were to change it, I would put the one thing I would change. Actually, the multiple things I would change. I would give it analog triggers because that is a big sticking point for me. I think that I have the PS4 DualShock here, and that has a much better the triggers on those are just fantastic, and the trigger on this one is pretty weak, I think. But I would also replace the motor in this for the what the heck is it called? What's the thing that they call it? The not I mean I know it's haptic feedback, but they call it
Oh, HD Rumble
HD Rumble.
or
Thank you. Yeah, I would give it better, stronger motors for the HD Rumble because they're fantastic in the Joy Cons. But this thing is so beefy that it needs something more powerful. I think because sometimes when you play with the Pro controller, you kind of miss out on the haptic stuff from the like you feel that it's rumbling, but you don't notice the differentials from one thing to the next. Whereas with the Joy Cons, I almost always notice it, and that's one thing that I would change about the Pro controller myself. So you want to talk a little bit about Tokyo Game Show? What did you see there that caught your eye the most?
definitely what I got out of Tokyo Game Show this year was how many Square Enix games are coming to Switch. They've shown over 10 Switch games at Tokyo Game Show this year, which is pretty crazy. Um,
And what are
they
they?
sh- they showed all so basically all the Final Fantasy games from the last direct
Hmm.
there at Tokyo Game Show. Dragon Quest Builders 2 is at Tokyo Game Show. They announced an enhanced port of Saga 3 is coming to Switch and every other system at Tokyo Game Show.
What's
And
what's
hopefully,
Saga 3? What is that? What kind of
oh,
game?
Saga's like a traditional role-playing game that was on the SNES.
Oh, okay.
They were never actually localized, so most people don't know about them, but they were like big Square Enix JRPGs in Japan. And then hopefully, in just about 3 hours, we'll hear about Dragon Quest 11 for the Switch, which is what I'm really hoping for.
Yeah. I'm torn. Like I want to get that for the Switch, but at the same time it looks so good on the PS4 and I know it won't look as pretty on the Switch, and if I'm honest, if I'm playing portably, it's usually still in my house. and I think I'd be fine just playing it sitting in front of the big TV with pretty graphics. And I know,
Yeah.
like, did we talk about this on the show, or was this pre-show that we talked about double dipping? Oh, that
And
was. Go ahead.
that was very early in the show.
Okay. I wasn't sure if we talked about it before the
Yeah.
show. A couple things that I saw. Have you ever played Ace Attorney games?
I have, yeah.
Okay,
Oh yeah, they just announced those this morning.
yeah. Well, like a trilogy, and it's not. It's no longer a Nintendo. That was a Nintendo exclusive. Am I right?
No, well, for a while, Nintendo console, well, handheld console exclusive. They were on mobile.
Oh, okay. So as far as outside of cell phones, it was only on Nintendo, right?
Yeah, it
Okay.
wasn't on any Sony systems or any Xboxes and any Microsoft systems
Well, now it's going to be. It's going to be on PS4, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. The trilogy
and PC too.
and PC. I missed that
Yep.
part.
Yeah, and Steam.
Are you a big fan? Because I've
I like
never
the
played it.
series. I like the series a lot. I played all the games. Um, have I replayed them more than once? No, but I really do like the games when I play them.
Um,
I was a little disappointed that they at least didn't announce like a 4 to 6 collection, but I'm sure that'll happen next year.
how many of those games are there?
There's 6.
Oh, okay. All right.
There are 6 main games, 2 spin-off games, 1 crossover game. So it's a pretty big series.
Wow. And I haven't played any of them. Um, as somebody who, well, I tend to get bored with games that have extensive talking. I would probably want to avoid these, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's like 90% reading.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Um, did you see the Team Sonic Racing?
I briefly saw that trailer, yeah, and
Have
it
you?
actually looks pretty good to me.
I think it looks good, but like, are you going to play that over Mario Kart? That's the
Over
question.
Mario Kart?
Yeah, like if
No,
I
I'm not gonna play it over that, but I might play it with it. When I'm not playing, if I'm sick of Mario Kart, I might play that.
yeah, to me it just seemed like a poor man's Mario Kart. I watched it and I could not get excited about it. Of course, it was in Japanese because it was at the Tokyo Game Show, so I didn't know really what they were talking about. But I just the Team Sonic Racing looks good and looks fun, but it just seems like a poor man's Mario Kart to me.
Yeah, I mean Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has so much content that that's gonna be the problem with like most racing games going forward, especially kart ones. Is
Hmm.
it just seems like it's light on content.
Yeah, Beats Alive says that they are both different kart racers, in my opinion. I'm sure that that's true, but you can't tell that from looking at it because just from looking at it, I felt like, well, this is just a ripoff of Mario Kart, which isn't fair. It's
Yeah,
completely not
well,
fair.
to my knowledge, and I could be ignorant on this, like what Sonic has is like each like when you do one race on a course,
Hmm.
each lap is like a different track, like it changes. Um, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had that on a few stages, not many. It had it on the Wario Mountain stage, and then one of the
One of
F
the
Zero
rainbows.
stages. One of the F Zero stages had that, but
Oh, okay.
in general, I think people are just a little unhappy that it's not like Sega racing. Instead, they're just doing only Sonic characters.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool. Have they ever done that before?
Yeah,
Sega
they
Racing?
did on Wii U.
Oh, that's right. I think that my son had that for iPad at some
and
point.
and it was actually a really good game. So I think that's why people are just not as happy. But I think this game, I think it looks good. It
Yeah, I think it
looks really
looks
good.
good. It just didn't convince me. But maybe a trailer with some English so they can explain some more to me uh, would get my attention a little bit better. Mikey B playing says Mario is funner multiplayer. Funner's not a word, man.
Funner is not a word.
What about Yokai Watch? Have you played Yokai Watch?
I have. I played all the Yokai Watch games. And 4 was at Tokyo Game Show. Level 5 usually does their own event.
Mm-hmm.
Tokyo Game Show in a lot of years. Um, when I look at Yokai Watch 4, the first thing I think about is how it's probably running on like a modified Ni no Kuni engine. Because it kind of has that same like Ghibli shading look.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Yeah, and that's poised to come out in Japan this holiday, and it should sell at least 1 million units.
And
It's
then
gonna be a big title.
it comes like they're usually a year behind with the Western releases, I think.
Usually, but I'm hoping that they speed it up this time. I really am.
Yeah, my son has played Yokai Watch 1 and 2, and he loaned Yokai Watch to Bravd there in chat. Bravd is a real life friend of mine, and Bravd, let me know what you thought of that game. I don't think we actually talked about it, but like my son, well, he hasn't really explained to me how it's different than Pokemon because that's the vibe that I get from watching Yokai Watch or from looking at Yokai Watch is it feels like a Pokemon game, but I haven't played it myself. Can you convince me otherwise?
Um, it, it's kind of like Pokemon. Do you like Pokemon games?
I do like Pokemon games.
Yeah, it's similar in some respects, but it's also kind of like its own thing, like how the Digimon games are kind of take influence from Pokemon, but now that it's their own thing. I would say there's more story in Yokai Watch games. I would say the games are slightly less polished than Pokemon, but I think if you like the collecting aspect and the just the kind of way Pokemon games are, I think you'll enjoy Yokai Watch.
Cool. And you don't have to play the first three in order to get in with the four because really not interested in playing games on my 3DS anymore.
Actually, I think it would help you because I think the main character, well, the way 4 is set up is like there's separate stories with each of the main characters from the previous games. So I'm
Oh,
sure it would help
okay.
you.
Bravd in chat says, "Isn't the new Yokai Watch game a different style this time, not an RPG?" It,
No, it's still in our. Based on gameplay, it doesn't look like it's necessarily classic turn-based, but it still looks like an RPG to me.
yeah, the combat in the video for Yokai Watch 4 looked like much more action oriented than a turn based thing.
Yeah, which is what it looks like initially. I did see menus, but it's still an RPG, I think.
All right, so there you have it. It's still an RPG according to Stealth.
Yeah,
Do you play MOBAs at all?
I don't.
You never have.
I never have. I find them too intimidating.
You know, I was kind of the same way, and then I tried Heroes of the Storm, and I found that to be a pretty easy one to get into. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because Smite is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Are you willing to give it a shot? It is a MOBA.
I've honestly I don't know anything about Smite.
Okay. Basically, it's a MOBA, and it plays like a third person action game instead of like a top down kind of thing. Kind of like
Oh
Arena
yeah.
of Valor is top down. And it's really, really fun. I kind of got sucked into it a lot on the PC. And I never played it on console, but well, that's not true. I played it a little bit on console just to enough to decide that, oh, the using a controller is the way to play this game. Uh, but at that point, I was too busy to really get back into it. But Smite is well, it's not official, but due to some data mining, it is possible that the game is going to be coming to the Switch, which isn't a huge surprise, seeing as how High Res Studios just brought Paladins to the Switch. Did you play Paladins at all?
No, I MOBAs are a big gap in my knowledge base, I would say.
Well, Paladins is really more of a shooter, but that's understandable. 123 S Town, no 1232 S Town. When is Smite coming out for the Switch? We don't know when it's coming out for the Switch. It's been data mined that there's a new engine and it has some hooks in it for the eShop, I guess, that people found that. And yes, you are correct. Arena of Valor is coming out on the 25th, which is Tuesday. And that's also a really good game. And you know what, Stealth, I will say this: it's free for Arena of Valor. I'm going to assume a Smite will be free too, because most MOBA games are. So I'd recommend you check it out. Just to sit down and say that you have. You might hate it though.
It's likely, but I'm willing to try it out. I just don't have a lot of time to experiment with like new genres that I haven't played before.
Well, speaking of things that you've probably played before, based on our conversation, I'm going to guess that you've probably played Disgaea 1.
I have played this guy 1, yes.
And you played it on what system?
I played it first on the PS2, and then I played it on the PSP. I played it even a little bit on the DS. It was on that system as well. And yeah, Disgaea 1 Complete is coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, I
I think
gotta
like the
go
first
ahead.
week of October.
Yeah, I think it's October 2nd. I could be wrong about that. Maybe 5th. One of those. But yeah, I got a review copy and I played, part of the tutorial, and so far it's pretty interesting. I've heard that those games will, like, you can spend hundreds of hours playing Disgaea. Can you
Yeah,
talk about what kind of game it is for the people who've not heard of it before?
yeah, Disgaea is a strategy RPG series, much in the vein of Final Fantasy Tactics or Fire Emblem. The difference being, there's a lot more customization in Disgaea, and there's a lot more there's a lot more content in terms of dungeons. So basically, each item has a dungeon that you can go through to power up that item, but you have to go through like a
Hmm.
full dungeon to do that. And same goes for weapons and armor. You can go through dungeons specific to them. Um, and each item, weapon, armor has a different dungeon. So that's why people get sucked into that game. The level, whereas most RPGs have level caps of like 99 or 100, um, the level cap of Disgaea games are like 10,000,
Oh, goodness.
literally. Yeah. And so if you have like 20 characters and you want them all to be leveled up all the way, then yeah, it takes a long time.
Oh man. Okay. Have you played Disgaea 5 on the Switch?
I did, yeah.
Okay. How many hours did you play in that game, do you think?
I actually played it on a friend's Switch because I was having problems at the time. And so I put about like 75 hours into it.
Wow. And if you were to compare, because maybe people who have only have the Switch, maybe they never played a Disgaea game before, or maybe they've only played Disgaea 5. How does the original one compare to number 5?
Not well if you just played like the original like PS2 version, but the Switch and PS4 like complete edition kind of takes a lot of the quality of life changes and incorporates it.
Oh, okay.
So, there are less mechanics than in 5 and there's less diversity of classes and things like that, but yeah, it's still a game worth playing because the writing is just so good.
Oh yeah, there was some really funny moments even in the tutorial that I noticed. If I had if I were somebody who had never played any Disgaea game, would you recommend I start with 1 complete or start with 5?
I would probably recommend you start with 1 just because it's really is a classic.
See, I was thinking more along the lines of start with 1 because there's less mechanics. It's a little overwhelming at first when I was playing the just the demo for 5. I was like, man, there's so many things that you have to think about, like picking up people and throwing them, and the different equipment that you can put on, and like most Japanese games, they don't. It didn't do a great job showing me exactly what it was that I was supposed to do. I guess American games or Western games are better at holding your hand than Japanese games. That's, I guess that's not a huge surprise because there's a reason why Nintendo decided that Super Mario Brothers 2 shouldn't come out in the US. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. Where can people find your stuff again?
Oh, people can find me at stealth with 3 underscores on Twitter. You'll know you have the right guy if you see my banner, and it's pretty much all the Smash Brothers characters. Um, and yeah, and you can also find me on different podcasts and videos I've done. I work with a lot of YouTubers who love Nintendo content.
Awesome. So thank you so much for coming on, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye. There we go. Thanks, man.
Thank you. That was fun.
Yeah, it was. I will let you get out of here. I don't know if you knew or not, but my show tends to be pretty short.
I
So
actually appreciate that because I was on another show and I didn't realize it was going to be a 2 hour stream
holy cow. Yeah,
and I
no.
had to jump off early.
And you always feel bad because you're like, oh, man, I said I'd be here, but
Yeah, I can't
two
handle
hours
two
is a
hour
big
videos.
commitment.
Yeah, I can't handle that. And an hour and a half is pretty much my limit.
Well,
But I'm particularly tired because I was stupid and stayed up for that Ace Attorney thing.
yeah.
As I was up for at 3 in the morning, and yeah, I was annoyed. So now I'm really tired. But now, like, we have this Dragon Quest stream at 11:30.
You gonna
That
stay up and watch it, or are you gonna take a
yeah, I'm
nap
gonna.
beforehand?
No, I'm gonna stay up and watch it and live tweet through it, and people might see me melt down.
No, they're gonna show. They're gonna they've got to talk about the Switch version at this point. They have to.
But, well, that's what I tweeted. I don't know if you saw that, but Yuji Horii, like the director, said like a month ago about Dragon Quest XI Switch. I have a feeling we'll have a variety of announcements around TGS, but just how much we can say. So he said that, and then the description of the event today is Dragon Quest Paradise News Station, the latest information on Dragon Quest related works, starting with Dragon Quest Builders 2. So just starting with that. And Dragon Quest 11 producer and director will be on the stream too. So if they don't talk about the Switch version, based on the way the description of the event is and what Horii said before, I would not be happy.
Well, I think you are going to be happy. I don't like they've gone quite a long time silent about this. So,
Honestly, I think there was some kind of agreement with Sony that once the game got localized, then all of a sudden development went
oh,
well.
I that would not surprise me.
So I actually think that they're going to, honestly, like, not only do I think we're going to see it, I think they're going to give us like a Japanese release date or release window, or maybe even a global release date or release window.
I would love
If
a well, it's already localized, right?
it is, yeah.
Yeah, so there's no reason why they would have to release it in Japan first and then
Yeah,
send it
yeah,
over
exactly.
afterwards.
Yeah, and they already announced that the Switch version is getting localized, so we don't have to worry about that.
Awesome. Well, I will let you, I don't know, go rest a little bit before you start your
Yeah.
live tweeting. Everybody who's watching, make sure you follow at stealth with 3 underscores so you can find out all about the Dragon Quest stuff. I know some of these guys already follow you anyway.
I'm sure plenty of them do. I'm always happy to meet new people and talk to new people, and that's how I find the Nintendo community is very collaborative, and we all want to work with each other.
That's right. It's not
Yep.
competition, it's camaraderie.
It is camaraderie.